Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much, as always, for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Hope you're having a great short week here in the United States, and we're going to keep it rolling right along with your listener questions. Pam Forrester joins me, and we have a good time with today's questions. We're talking about traveling down to Walt Disney World solo. Great question from our friend Simon over in the UK, and he's looking for dining options for a solo traveler. And we get into that discussion about sit-down dining as a solo traveler. Is it okay? And how do you go about doing that? So we have a great discussion there. We also talk about getting to early morning ADRs at the Magic Kingdom, pre-park opening. What are the logistics with that? We're also looking for the best steak on Walt Disney World property, the best resorts to stay at for the springtime surprise Run Disney weekend for a first-time runner. This and much more coming your way on today's show. Don't forget, our podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Just click through that when you do your shopping. We'd really appreciate that. And we'd really appreciate supporting us on Patreon. Thank you to all of our supporters already. You guys are the lifeblood of our show, and you could support us as well. Just $5 a month. It's like a cup of coffee a month, and you'll get a bonus show every week for that support. It's called Mike in the Midwest. Come on over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2549 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week here in the United States and around the world as you tune into our show. Thanks for taking the time to download or stream our podcast. We always appreciate that and hope the show finds you well. Of course, it is Wednesday, so it's time for your listener questions. And if you are confused, yes, it is Wednesday. It's faking you out like it's one of those weeks where you don't really know what day it is here in the States because Monday felt like Sunday because of the 3-day weekend. So just roll with it. Friday will be here before you know it. And it'll be another football weekend here in the United States. Of course, this weekend's really weird if you're a football fan because the NFL's back, starts on a Thursday, Friday. It's just take it all in. If you're a football fan, it's wild. It's great. Football plays Thursday night, and then I think Friday night there's a game. Speaking of Brazil in the pre-show, there's football, NFL football in Brazil Friday night. It's a weird world. And speaking of world, we're going to talk about Walt Disney World right now with my friend, your friend, everybody's friend. She's the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. Pam, you've been around the world. What's going on? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. So I had the long weekend. We had seen some friends and we're talking about all these like childhood sort of toys that you used to have. And then it sort of developed into like things that you had even as you were older, but you didn't know where those things were. Like, did you still have that? Whatever. And I was talking specifically about, so when Steve and I went to Walt Disney World on our honeymoon, I bought this Bean Bunny stuffed animal. Okay. Remember that show that was when you watch the Muppet Show, it would pretty much dump you out into that store that was there that had all those Muppet things.
The one across the street, right? It was
yes.
by
it was just
Mama Melrose, kind of right
yes,
there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
And they had all these fantastic Muppet things. So I think I must have bought it at that store, but they had a lot more Muppet centric things. And I had looked for this item a few months ago, and I came to the conclusion that, oh my gosh, you know what? At some point I probably just got rid of it. You know what I mean? During like one of the many purges of Hannah's stuffed animals. If you're a parent, you know, fight the good fight, my friends. Fight the good fight with the stuffed animals. I'm just saying, you're constantly trying to pare down the stuffed animals. Well, lo and behold, Steve pulled out a box of stuff the other day. I'm going to go off camera, and this will be pretty exciting for those who have video, right?
Uh-oh. It's why we have
who I found. It is Bean Bunny.
He is back. Look,
back.
it's Bean. I feel like it's a scene out of Muppet Vision 3D. It's
right.
Bean.
I know.
Bean.
So I'm really
excited
to find him because he was like $300 on eBay, and I wasn't. I wasn't gonna pay the $300. So
right now you can.
So there he is.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you could have him for a mere $350.
So anyways, pretty excited about that. I did not want to have to pay the eBay prices for him, but I had fond memories of him. So there he is. Now he's in my office, and it like now I feel justified in keeping him because he's like office decor, right? I mean,
you need to make like a TikTok video with that thing because it's so vintage and it's so rare.
Right?
You need to make some kind of a TikTok video with him, like
Bean Bunny.
Yeah, totally.
I know. I'll have to think about that.
Do it. I'll voice it. I got work.
Okay.
Let's do it. Bean Bunny. Okay. Anyway, that's awesome though. And by the way, remember we're not a YouTube show because we have faces for. I have face for radio, but it's youtube.com/BRGS podcast. Come on over. We like subscribers too, not just Scotty G over at Must See Adventures. We like subscribers too. Anyway, let's get to the questions. That's why you're here. And we asked for them and we got them over on Instagram. And I love trying to read Instagram names because usually it's just a bunch of letters all jammed together because there's no spaces.
Right.
I can't tell what it's supposed to mean, but it says Cinder from Emma. Okay, so anyway, we're headed to the world from the UK this weekend. My question is the Springs Jones show. Try that again. I'm a professional. My question is the Springs drone show still going into September, please. Thanks for all. We'll send photos in the Discord from our adventures. Oh, they're over in the clubhouse. Oh, awesome.
Fun.
But unfortunately,
yeah,
as we recorded yesterday was the last drone show.
It was.
Yeah, Monday. What'd you think of the drone show? Was it a hit? It was, right? It was a hit.
Yeah, it was a hit. I loved it. And I will tell you, it really, I mean, people went to Disney Springs to see this, first of all. You saw that. You saw all the people there, but it was, I think it was great. It just sort of shows what's possible. I hope it gives Disney some ideas. And I can't wait to see if they'll bring some back again at other times and in other locations.
I agree. I mean, they did this actually for our first home football game at Mizzou at halftime. They flew drones over the stadium at halftime. The Marching Mizzou, our band, played music to the drones. Big hit. Like everybody liked it because they could make we're the Tigers, right? So they had Truman the Tiger. He waves his move, like his signature move when he gets the crowd really like losing their minds. He grabs his tail and swings it. That's like his move. Dude, the big tiger, the Truman up in the sky. Grabs his tail, it'd be, 100-foot Truman swinging his tail. People lost their minds. I wasn't there. I was at Howell, but I heard about it from everybody. So, I mean, everybody's using these drone shows now. Like they're at minor league ball games, they're at football games, but, and I think, it really did. The only negative I heard is that it made parking impossible. It made getting around the Springs hard, but I mean, that's because people liked it. It was popular. People wanted to see it. So put it in a park. I think it's great for Animal Kingdom. I think it's got possibility for Animal Kingdom.
Just in terms of the fact that it doesn't have those loud noises that could impact the animals. Yeah, I agree. I think there's something there. I think, though, the problem is finding a nice open vista where a lot of people could see it from. Because think about Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, trees.
There's lots of trees everywhere.
I guess maybe. I mean, what about the theater? I mean, I guess it's small. If you sit people in the theater and just have them look up, I don't know. I mean, that theater.
I don't know either.
I just want to use that theater somehow. I don't know.
Maybe it's something that they'll be thinking of. But yeah, I think it's a great idea for there. And I'm excited. I always love to see what they're testing out to doing a limited trial run. That's when people always come to us and they're like, "Oh, well, they'll extend this, right? Because it's popular."
Yeah, not always.
No, not always.
We waited like 7 years for them to bring it back to the Springs. that was a long time.
Exactly.
And Cinder, have a good time over this week coming over from the UK. Safe travels over. Have a blast and So much.
There'll
more
be
to
so
see.
much to do,
Absolutely.
even without
You're
the
good.
drone
You're
show.
good. And I mean, just look up. They're shooting stars sometimes. All right. Danielle has a question over on Instagram as well. Danielle_Babcock says, hey guys, would you prefer akershus for breakfast or lunch/dinner for a 3-year-old? Hope y'all enjoyed your Labor Day weekend. I did. Thank you. Hope you did too. For a 3-year-old, I would go breakfast.
I was going to say the same thing. If your child is anything like our children.
I didn't mean to hit the cash register. It's supposed to be a ding. I had the wrong board pulled up. My bad. But it is also a cha-ching if you're Cinderella's royal table. But okay.
Yes, but it's just like they wake up, like kids wake up with so much energy and excitement, and it's good to sort of funnel that into something. And I think a breakfast is the perfect thing.
And the food is more normal for breakfast than lunch and dinner. And a 3-year-old's more likely to like eggs and sausage than smoked salmon.
There you go.
Most kids. Simon, our good friend over in the UK, which by the way, we're recording live a little bit earlier this afternoon. This is what we call a European special recording for our friends over in the UK, by the way. I'm getting ready to fly out to Walt Disney World next week on the 11th, leaving Sully and the rest of the family behind as I go solo. Oh, Simon's not bringing his wingman. That's so sad. What should be top of my solo priority list? Also recommendations for solo dining. Cheers, Simon. GB, Great Britain. Well, so you would say, so Pam's going to answer for me. I'm going to answer for Pam. Pam would say lounges. Lounges are your friend.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a great, I would say that for sure.
I know you.
And I will answer for Mike and say, the good thing about Disney World is everywhere you eat, they sort of cater to solos too.
Do.
It's not just families, it's solos as well. Disney's used to seeing it all and doing it all. So I think that that's something to keep in mind, that I don't think there's any place in Disney World except maybe like Victoria and Albert's where I would feel odd dining by myself. What about you, Mike? Is there anything?
No, and I think I talked about this on, I think the live show that we had Sunday night that'll come out tomorrow. We do so many shows. I can never remember which show it was, but it was recently, where if I was at home, right? If I'm here in St. Charles, I'm not going to a sit down restaurant by myself, period. Like if the girls are out of town for like a cheer competition, or they have a girls, the cheer moms and the daughters go to Lake of the Ozarks or something. If I'm home for the weekend by myself, I'm not going to go to El Azteca and sit down by myself. I don't know why. I just think that's weird. What I'll do to get El Azteca, I'll just call them and they put it all in a bag, right? And I'll be like, don't forget the guac and the chips and the salsa. And they'll put it all in a bag with my fajita parts and all that stuff. And you carry it out, you pay for it, right? And you just bring it home and you eat it on the deck or whatever. I don't solo eat at a sit down restaurant here. But I have no problem with that at Walt Disney World. And if you just look around, even if you're there with your family next time, look around, you'll see solo diners all the time at Walt Disney World. And the thing is, it's not a big deal. I do this on race weekends all the time because a lot of folks just have the opportunity to go down for conventions, for race weekends, just because you're by yourself. Who cares? You just want to have a good time. It doesn't matter. You don't have to go down with people. And, play on your phone, take pictures of your food, tweet it out, check social media. Some people, during football season, I'll pop up my phone and, I have YouTube TV. I'll have the 4-box. I'll be watching 4 foot. I don't care if you think, I hope you don't think that's rude. I'm by myself. I don't have the sound on. I'll have my AirPod in one ear or something and be checking in on 4 different football games while I'm eating fajitas at Maya Grill. I'm not bugging anybody. I'm living my best life. I think the norms have kind of changed over the last 10, 15 years. I'm just, I'm not bugging anybody. I'm not distracting anybody, but it's not such a social, I think, 15, 20 years ago, it was like weird to sit down and have a table service meal by yourself, but I don't think that's the case anymore.
No, I don't think it is either. And I think too, the great thing about going to Disney World is even a character meal. Like I see lots of people dining solo, even at a character meal. And I think that's a good thing. I'm like you, Mike, typically at home, if I'm going to be by myself, I'm probably not going out. I'm probably doing takeout and coming home. But I have no problem with it at Walt Disney World. Just never, it doesn't even cross my mind that it's odd because you just see it so often. So that's the cool thing. And the other thing I'd say, Simon, is these solo trips are your opportunity to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and to not have to consider anyone else's feelings. And that's the great thing about a solo trip is you can be absolutely selfish and it's not selfish at all. It's just you don't have anyone else to answer to. And I think the other thing is too, if you're doing something and you want to change gears, that's another thing. You can do it on the fly. And that's not always as easy when you have other people in tow because everyone else has expectations and wants and things like that. But I love the solo trip thing. I think it's a very cool thing.
And like Simon says, ooh, he's got it. His own car at Sci-Fi. That's the perfect opportunity, right? I mean, I remember one time I was down there, this is like 3 or 4 years ago at this point. I sat outside Sci-Fi, no kidding. You know, you got to have that proximity sensor like reservation where you're in the area and I still didn't get in. I have some kind of curse to not get in that restaurant. I could get in Brown Derby. I was in the park. I could get reservations for Brown Derby. I could get in 50s prime time. And I'm like, I'm by myself. Dude, they can get one dude that really wants to get in here if I'm patient. Boom, 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 boom. Kept hitting it 45 minutes, finally gave up, got on the Skyliner, went over to Primo Piatto and ate. Couldn't get in. But yeah, I mean, with one person, you're liable to get in there and have a good time. And that Sci-Fi is an awesome place to dine solo, right? No, it's dark. Nobody even knows you're probably by yourself. Dude, you're living your best life. Who cares? They might see you. That's what I was thinking. Like, it's got burger shakes, you know, like old movie clips. You're living your best life. Nobody knows. Like 5 people in that car, one person, nobody knows. Who cares? And I'm going to try it again.
And everyone there is looking up at the screen
exactly.
anyway.
Nobody cares. Exactly. You just rolled in on your, you're just rolled in by yourself in your car. Let's see here. Diff Punk over on Instagram says, hey, BOGP team, we'll be staying at the Polynesian for our Walt Disney World trip in November. If we did an ADR for Crystal Palace before the park opens, would the monorail be running that early? How's that work if you're on the monorail loop for a pre-park opening ADR, Pam? I never stay over there.
Yeah, so the pre-park opening ADRs used to be much more of a thing, right? Remember? Because the only people who could get into Main Street were the folks who had those pre-park ADRs. Now, of course, they open the gates and let everyone in on Main Street. So you'll be able to do that. And the monorail will be able to take you. And the good news is that if the walkway from the Polynesian to the Grand Floridian is open, you can also just keep on going and go to the Grand Floridian and walk over to the Magic Kingdom. So lots of options there for you. But yes, it will be open. And boat service and monorail service start typically around the same time. So one of those options will be able to get you into the park.
All right, here's a question from Len, whose Spartans are an undefeated 1-0 going into this weekend. It says, I just recently heard about a show in Epcot called Forces of Nature that has been extended through March. It apparently is an acrobatics, I should say. I can't read today. Show and World Celebration. Have you seen this show? We're thinking of trying to include this in our plans. I have not seen this in person, but I've seen the coverage of it. Pam, have you seen it?
I have, yeah. Yeah, I have.
What do you think?
I thought it was really interesting, and I liked having that energy in that space. First of all, World Celebration. I will never be able to call that area anything but Future World.
Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly right. I mean, I'm glad I'm not
They're trying to kill us with these name changes.
For real. It's like the new Coke.
I know. Since you are listening to the Senior Citizens podcast, we're not able to make changes like this.
I'm telling you, man, we've been doing this almost 17 years. Like, you cannot teach an old podcast new tricks. It's hard.
No, you can't. So anyways, thankfully we were able to make the connection here. Yes. No, I have. And it is. So I don't know why, like, does Disney scope like America's Got Talent or something and scoop up folks that have like some of these unique and awesome talents? Because who would like, I don't know, maybe I was just an uninspired child who didn't like think of doing things like this in my basement while I was growing up. But anyways, so no, this, I think it is worth seeing. And I think it's shown a few times during the day, not too much into the evening. But yeah, I think it is worth seeing for sure. Check it out and put it in your plans.
I think this is just kind of tangential to Len's question. Absolutely. Live entertainment, I think, is at the heart of Walt Disney World, and kind of piggybacking on that. I think one of the biggest upgrades Walt Disney World could do is to take a step back. And if I were really wanting to re-energize the parks and re-energize the base of the Disney fans that are at the core of the folks who really were there in the 90s and the 2000s, who would come back, I think, maybe that are a little disenfranchised right now, because there are some people that are kind of a little bit disenfranchised. I mean, we hear that on social media. I think one of the number one things I would do if I was in charge of parks, I would bring back more live entertainment in the parks. I'd bring back things like Streetmosphere immediately. And what I would do is I'd have more things like this, but I would bring back the Chinese, the acrobats in China, the people that stack the chairs in France, you know, the whistleblower guy in Italy. And I know they're there sometimes, but I mean, I'm talking every single day. And I know this stuff costs money, but you got to spend money to make money. And it's one of those things, I know that it's probably really hard to get a hard accounting number on what's the return on investment for like live entertainment in the parks, because it's not like lightning lanes. Like, how many do you sell per hour? And
right,
you can get a real number, like a hard number on what's the value, how much profit are we churning on this? Like with live entertainment, it's probably a gray area, right? It's more like, did I have a good day today? You know, are people happy? You can't put a number on happy. Or did I get a good value? Because that's a real judgmental kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think people like us, you get Streetmosphere, you get citizens of Main Street, you know, like the suffragettes, the fire captain, the mayor, welcoming you in every day. That there's just something, you know, the welcome show at the train station. I just think things like that, because just like Len said, you stop for 15 minutes. It's not why you go to Walt Disney World, but many times when you go home, those are the pictures you show people. Those are the clips of 2 minutes of the Dapper Dans that really you show people. This is what set us apart from other places.
I agree. So here's my idea for Disney. Are you ready for it? I say we go back here in Epcot and do like a long weekend, or maybe it's a series of weekends, right? Where we celebrate like the early decade of Epcot, the first 10 years it was open, right? I want Mickey and Minnie, spacesuits,
yes!
rainbows, that,
with the rainbow, like, yes.
100%.
Yes.
I want, of course, you want Figment and Dreamfinder, right? You're going to be able to see them. You're going to be able to get a hand witch. You're going to be able to see all the different entertainment. But think about that. I think that would really be, you know, that would be a great festival for Epcot in particular. So, you know, we have all these different festivals and they all sort of center around food. And maybe the food booths could even feature foods that were available in those early days of Epcot. But Disney, there's got to be like a 3-week period of time where like things are a little slow. You're looking for something to do. Let's celebrate the first decade of Epcot and let's do it like this. I think it would be awesome. I would be there for it. Wouldn't you be there for it?
I would totally be there for it. I mean,
I would make it happen.
I mean, 100%. You know, and I think, you know, they're going the right direction with they're going to build new attractions and all this stuff. But I mean, the things they're doing right now take years and years and years, which of course, you know, you're retheming Dino Land to be South America. That's going to be awesome in 2028. But if they would have come on the stage at D23 and said, you know, we keep hearing this kind of rumble that people miss live entertainment. There was something that really set our parks apart, was these like the heartbeat of the mayor of Main Street USA. 'Cause you know how many pictures I literally have on my phone of the mayor? I always got a picture with the mayor. Every time I went into the Magic Kingdom, I got a picture. I have so many pictures of me and the mayor, the fire chief, the suffragettes. All the people at Hollywood Studios, you know, like of me with the cop getting arrested and because I was walking too fast, or the movie director, you know, trying to put me in a show. Those are my favorite pictures. Like they could have walked on that stage and in like, because they could have done a casting call. And I mean, literally, I mean, like worst case scenario in a month had all that stuff back. And I mean, people would have lost their minds. And I mean, yeah, it's really hard to show an ROI on that, but man, what a good faith thing. And they would have got such great social media buzz on that. And it would just been so good. I don't know. Maybe I'm always like overly optimistic and think things are so easy.
Yeah.
But those were the good old days. You know, that was just, I just don't
Agreed.
see where the negative is in that. It can't cost that much for what we're
Right.
paying. We're paying a lot, you know, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to the questions. Shut up, Mike. Okay. Natalie has a question over here. Says, my parents are going down in November for my mom's 65th birthday. They aren't taking me, which is sad. Oh, Natalie, you need to keep working. It's not November yet. Keep working. Guilt trips.
It could happen.
Dude, I'm telling you, Mallory works me so hard. Usually it ends up happening. So I'm just saying. She says, my dad wants a good steak. Where do you recommend going? They're staying at Yacht and Beach, which, by the way, you have a good steakhouse close by. Yacht Men's Steakhouse, but that's a good place. I've never actually eaten there. Well, I was going to go there with you one night, like years ago, and I still regret it because I got a stomach ache that night. I'm so mad.
Oh man. Yes. Yes. So you have the lovely Yachtsman's Steakhouse that is right there at the Yacht Club. And I will say my husband swears by this to this day, and I kind of lean towards agreeing with him. I think one of the best steaks on property is actually at Flying Fish, which is a seafood place, but they know they have to have options available for the folks that don't want to have seafood. There is something they put like a char crust on this that is just beyond good. It's so tasty. So consider that. That's a really good location too. And those are both within walking distance right there of Yacht and Beach Club.
Have you been to Shula's? Because I always hear about Shula's, and I've seen Shula's in a couple of hotels I've stayed in, like up in Chicago and one other place. But how do you rate Shula's?
I thought that Shula's was good. As I recall, I think most of the things were like a la carte there. So it would be sort of like a Ruth's Chris that you order the meat and then you order your side dishes like separately, sort of like that kind of thing. And I think that the food is really good there. I think that I probably would put, Flying Fish and Yacht and Beach maybe a little ahead of that in terms of if I'm ranking them. But you know what? I think that that's so hard to rank things like that because there may be a side dish here that you love or whatever. And when I'm talking Yacht and Beach Club and Yachtsman, I'd be really remiss to not mention the pull apart onion rolls. They are so good. They're worth going there just for that. In fact, you can get them now. Mike, they've changed Cruise Cup menu a little bit. And that's actually, the onion rolls are so good that they have them as something that you can order from Cruise Cup. So you can check them out there too. Yeah, I know, right? A good roll. It's hard to beat a good roll.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding. I mean, you know me, right? I go to Texas Roadhouse just so they're like, because like they walk you to the table. Well, you probably don't go to Texas Roadhouse. You don't seem like Texas Roadhouse girl, but we go all the time. They take you, as they greet you, they bring the basket with you as they take you to your table, right, with your first batch of rolls. I mean, boom, those things are gone by like the time they walk away. And then they're like, would you like more? Yes, we would like more rolls.
Yeah.
That's why we go. And then we just destroy those things. So yes, I could imagine at Cruise Cup, I could tear some up. And I've heard, so they're the same rolls you have over at Yachtsman Steakhouse, correct? Or no?
They are, yes. So there's an onion pull apart roll, and I believe there's a sourdough roll typically too. They're both really good, and I love sourdough. But I'm telling you, this onion roll is so good. I just like push that sourdough roll to the side.
Bring it. All right, let's go to the inbox, and we have a question from listener Liz in Rhode Island. Hey, Mike, Scott, Pam, and Ricky. 50% of us showed up today. We're here.
Right? We get extra.
We'll probably get up to 75% on Friday. I've been a long-time listener. My favorite show of the week is the Listener Question Show. Yay! After all these years, this is my first listener question. I've recently, after having 3 children, put my health and wellness as a priority and have lost 50 pounds. Wow, congratulations. That's awesome. I have started running, and my goal was a Run Disney race in 2025. Well, I registered for my first Run Disney Challenge, Springtime Surprise 2025. I'm doing all 3 races, the 5, the 10K, and the 10 miler. My question is, where do you think the best resort is to stay for a Run Disney weekend, specifically Springtime Surprise, since it is mainly at Epcot and the studios that we run through? I admit, even though I consider myself a Run Disney nerd, go a couple times a year, I'm feeling a little bit out of my comfort zone with the Run Disney stuff. I do love the Skyliner, but it doesn't have to be a Skyliner resort. I prefer not to book a deluxe as it is just my husband and myself, and we don't plan on spending too much time at the resort. Any helpful tips for Run Disney in general would be great. Thank you for all your efforts. The podcast has helped push me through many tough runs. Thanks so much, Liz. First of all, Liz, that is awesome that you are like so far down the road on this this fitness journey. I mean, 50 pounds is remarkable. That is incredible.
For sure.
These race weekends can be such a celebration because you've already put in the work and you will continue to put in the work. That'll just be the celebration laps. And when they hand you those medals, the 5, the 10, the half, and the challenge medal, you get to take those home, show everybody of all the work, not only that you did that weekend, but all the work that you and the commitment you've put in all the time up to then. And you get to celebrate this entire weekend. Now, your answers are Pop Century and Coronado Springs or Old Key West. Those are your three answers. That's what I like, though, for Run Disney weekends. If you want to go value, I do like Pop Century for the Skyliner. And there's always tons of runners at Pop Century, which I like because it gets you jazzed up. There's nothing like seeing all the other runners. It is, especially because you're going to like be all... It's your first Run Disney weekend. You're going to be so jazzed up about the whole Run Disney experience. You're constantly going to be running into people in short shorts and sneakers, and everybody will be smelling like icy hot. It's like intoxicating for somebody that's there for a Run Disney weekend. It's wild. So Pop Century it is if you want to go value. Coronado is just a great overall value. Plus, it's a great location because you're right by the studios and Epcot for a moderate. It's got great dining on site, Three Bridges, Maya Grill. It's got Topolino, or not Topolino, Toledo. And it's got, the I always call it El Mercado, but it was called Pepper Market. I still call it Pepper Market. Again, we're old. Pepper Market back in the day. It's got great, the dig site pools. It's just a great hotel. It's a great spot to stay. You can stay in the tower if you want to go fancy. You can go standard rooms. They're fine. It's got it all. It's got the jazz guy playing the music in Maya Grill. Can't forget about him. So Coronado's great. In Old Key West, if you want to go a little deluxe and maybe get a deluxe studio, it's right there. I mean, it's right there. That's a great spot too. But that'd be if you have a car. I'd have a car if you stay at Old Key West. So I've kind of hogged that one. But Pam, anything you want to offer up Liz for her first Run Disney experience?
Just another one to throw into the mix. Caribbean Beach is right there. It's very close to Epcot as well. And I just want to point out too, I know that a lot of folks think about like the location, like where to stay, where not to stay at the Run Disney races. And I will say that Disney has gotten so much better about that there are going to be race buses going from all the resorts. And it's not a huge advantage to be staying even at one of the Epcot resorts if the Epcot races are happening, because they do not let you come through the International Gateway before or after the race without, they won't let you do it before the race because it's not open. And after the race, the only way you're going to be able to is if you have a park ticket and you actually go through the park and walk through. So it's something to keep in mind because I know it sounds super convenient and yet it's not quite.
The park won't be open after the 5K because you'll be done.
Oh,
well
right.
Before
That's
the
absolutely.
Open. Yeah, you'll be done like at 6:30, and the park probably won't open until 8.
Yeah.
So you'll be taking. Yeah, the only one you probably worry about that's the half. Yeah, so you'll be taking a bus back, and the bus there's a motor coach that takes you back. You cross the finish line and you collect your medal, you collect your little food box, and then boom, they walk you right to like a big comfy motor coach. There's one for every resort, and it takes you right back to your hotel.
There is.
But you're right. I mean, people don't remember this. Again, it's just like the theme of today's show is old. Because back in the day. With Run Disney, there were only certain hotels that were called.
Oh yeah,
they were called host hotels, right? Okay,
host
so
hotels.
You had to pay attention. One time, I stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge by accident on a Run Disney weekend. Guess what? Was not a host hotel. I had to get a cab. This is the only time in my life I've ever been in a taxi cab. I was for real in a yellow taxi. That's the only time I was in a taxi cab. It was for the Halloween. It was the Twilight Tower of Terror. 13 miler.
Oh
13.
Gosh, yeah.
It was the one that was in October. It was 13. I guess it was 13 miler.
13.1, I think.
It was 13K
Wasn't
or
it?
13. Yeah, it was the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. It was a 10 miler. But
Okay.
I just remember the cab driver went on the sidewalk because I was late. Because like I had to figure this all out. This is back before I was. Trust me, if I'm your travel agent, I figured this all out by now. So don't freak out. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, travel agent didn't know what's going on." This is a long time ago. Dude, I told the guy, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna miss the race." He went up on the sidewalk and dropped me off by the Globe at ESPN Wide World of Sports because that's where the starting line. This was like a point-to-point race. Like you started at ESPN for that race and you ended at Epcot. So you didn't even start and stop at the same place. He went around people. This guy was crazy. And dropped me off up by the Globe. I don't even know if the guy got arrested or whatever, but I gave him a pretty good tip.
He had your back.
It was basically like a little pre-bail for the guy. I don't know. I was like, I'll never see the guy again. Hopefully he can get out of jail. But I'm here. I literally ran away from the cab because I didn't want to be like an accomplice. I'm like, I've never been in a cab before. I don't know what's going on. I'm from Missouri, man. We don't have cabs. We all drive ourselves. Anyway, next question's for Bill. Oh, hello. We can't see. Okay, let's see here. I just finished listening to the show about things you miss from the parks and love that Pam brought up World of Motion while OG Test Track was one of Mike's. It just goes to show that as much as we might miss Splash Mountain or might not be happy that Tom Sawyer Island is going away, Tiana's or the Cars attractions are going to be someone else's thing that made them fall in love with the parks. It's a nice reminder that when one door closes, another one opens for a new generation. How well said is that by Bill? He's over on Facebook.
Yeah, I want to like copy and paste that in like 8 million different channels because it is. I always try to think about the people I see who love the new attractions, like the people that we saw at Country Bears who loved the new iteration of this ride. This attraction. It made my heart happy. And anytime I see someone loving Disney as much as I do, whether it is something that I love or something maybe that I don't appreciate as much as I should, that makes my heart happy. It just does. I want to see that. I want everyone to have that experience and see something that they love in the parks.
It is always hard to say goodbye to something that's your favorite. I mean,
it is.
There's no denying that. But again, there's always going to be renewal. There's always going to be a next generation, and they're going to like something that's new. That's going to be their thing, you know? And so you just got to accept that things change and life moves on. It's hard to, but Bill said it so well there. We appreciate that, Bill. Thanks for being such an optimist. That's great. All right. Last question of the day is going to go to Amy and says, "Hey, Mike and company, I'm going to Walt Disney World in April of 2025 for a quick trip, and I'm torn on where to stay. We're thinking about Beach Club or the Contemporary." Can't really mess with either one of those. "I'm going with my mom and 12-year-old son who loves water slides and park time. Both options seem to have great slides and are close to the parks. How are the garden wing rooms at the Contemporary? The price is better, and we really want to try the Contemporary as it's one of the last resorts we haven't tried yet. Beach Club looks awesome too, and we do love Epcot. Does the garden wing still feel like the Contemporary? Are the Beach Club rooms nice, and are the food options good? I'd love for you guys to help us choose. I listen to each show while running. I appreciate your positivity, consistency, and satisfying my Disney itch. Mike, as a side note, I hope you're okay thinking about your post-hospital stay. Amy." All good. All good. Back to eating Taco Bell, so you know I'm back to normal. Probably shouldn't tell my doctors that, but whatever. I'm the world's worst patient, so that's probably why I ended up there in the first place. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. So, man, this is a Sophie's Choice, or I don't even know what that means, but people always say that Contemporary Beach Club because you can't go wrong. I mean, if you're looking for your 12-year-old, you're gonna get the flying jib slide over at the Beach Club at the Stormalong Bay. Now, wait, they're going in April of 2025. The Stormalong Bay is going down early 2025 for a refurb. Will it be out by April? That's going to be on the verge.
I don't know if it will be.
I might go Contemporary on this one for sure, just to be safe. I know. So here's the thing about the garden wing rooms, the Contemporary. They are huge. I'll just tell you that. Because Scott stayed in one. Or was it you that stayed in them, or was it Scott? I know we were all in one.
They're
a couple
different.
Of years ago.
Yeah, there's different. It goes, actually, the refurb goes from January to June 2025.
Okay, so I'd go Contemporary on that then.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you got a couple of pool options over there.
You do. You have the round pool, the
That-
bullseye pool.
Yeah, the whirlpool looking pool. That we
Yes.
spent a good day during COVID in that pool. That was one of the best
We
days of COVID.
did. We did. And the garden wing rooms at the Contemporary have the exact same room decor as the tower rooms. You still get those incredibly Incredibles themed rooms. And it's just they're just not located in the main building. They're located in a separate building that's right outside the main tower. So you actually sort of walk past the pool and get to them. And some of them have some good views. You can have ones that sort of look over the waterway or look over towards sort of the volleyball court and that beach area. So that's something to think of too. But yeah, I think because of the pool construction that's going to happen at the beach club, I would lean towards going to the Contemporary. I think just because you'll have more, you won't be fighting for pool space, and you'll have a pool that has a slide and some features, and then you also have that quiet pool too. So yeah.
And walking to the Magic Kingdom is unbelievable. It's
such a cool thing.
It's awesome. And plus the monorail going through your resort is unreal too. I mean, that's a plus. And great. I think better dining also, like as far as like Contempo Cafe beats the Beach Club Marketplace.
I agree. The Beach Club Marketplace doesn't have a lot of
better.
choices. There's just not. Sometimes when I see what their choices are, I always wonder, do they have a full kitchen there in the back or what's happening?
Deluxe resorts need better food courts. I mean, it's like, I know that like value resorts are more geared towards food courts, but I mean, deluxe resorts could have food courts too. I know food courts are kind of like cheesy, but still, I mean, come on now.
I think they need enough options for breakfast so that you don't get tired of the breakfast options during a stay, during an average stay, whatever that question is. You know what I mean? Whatever that sort of length of stay is, that you can do it.
All right, last question real quick, because I think I missed this one from Hannah. She says, greetings from Minnesota. A couple of months ago, she had a talking point and she's worried that we missed it. So she says... she had expressed her love for the love of the Emperor's New Groove, was disappointed that there's no representation of this IP anywhere in the parks. She says, furthermore, how cool would it have been if they had rethemed Splash Mountain to this, specifically the scene where, again, help me, Pacha and Cusco, and it got cut off here, because it can only be so long.
It could only be so long, but yeah, there's a few different things where they're running up and down the hills of the whole thing. And there's also, I always said that would not specifically that attraction, but I always think there would be a great attraction where Kronk and Yzma, there's a lever that they pull and they end up, the floor drops out and they're always like, why is there that lever? Like, why do we have that lever? And I think it's a great idea, and I think probably not too surprising, because for some reason Emperor's New Groove, although it is a hysterical movie and completely underrated, I think it's just not one of those movies that people are like, oh, that's my favorite one. And I think there were problems with the storyline in terms of when that movie got developed and it got actually switched from its original story plot. So that's kind of a wild thing too. But I think that's probably why there's not something specific or an attraction specific to the Emperor's New Groove. But it does have absolutely some, some definite storylines that could be good for, I think, an attraction for sure. They did some funny stuff in there. So yeah, maybe in the future we'll see something that's Emperor's New Groove.
People that like that movie love that movie.
I've noticed really
it's
funny.
Like, it's cultish. Like people that, I mean, like you either, because I don't know that movie, but I mean, people that like that movie, like, want to see it everywhere.
I know, it's true. And I will say Yzma is one of the best villains ever. Like Eartha Kitt as Yzma, genius. It's really such a good cast there for that. And then you have Kronk, who was Putty, and of course the guy from Soarin', and all that, David Spade and John Goodman, and yeah, lots of great people in that cast for sure.
I had no idea. I'll have to watch it. If I didn't know all those famous people were in it. Welcome to Soarin'. Yes. Bill says his over and under is 3.5 bounty planners per trip. So
yes,
if it's me and it's a week-long trip, that's definitely an over. I do switch it up every once in a while with like the biscuit and the breakfast potatoes, but I usually go bounty platter.
I do not like the bounty platter.
Don't, but I do not love a good bounty
I
platter.
know, and I totally understand why people do. It's just that is not my breakfast. Like I don't know, if they would give me another egg option, I would prefer that. But yeah, there's some that really only have like 3 or 4 options at breakfast, right? You have the bounty platter, you have a waffle platter of some sort.
Mickey waffle usually.
You have maybe some kind of sandwich with an egg on it, perhaps. What are some of the other things? I mean, there's just not.
Yeah, there are typically, you can get stuff out of the like case, usually donuts or
right. Pastries. Yes, a humongous sweet roll.
Yeah,
with,
it's like the size of your head. It's vacation. I thought of you the other day though. So I went with my nephew one night. We had a free night, and my nephew called, and he said he doesn't really. He's not real verbal, and he called and asked us to go to dinner with him, and he's obsessed with IHOP. So he's like, would you go to dinner with us at IHOP? So we're like, yes, we'll go to dinner with you. So we did. And IHOP has Eggs Benedict, like as their new monthly special. Yeah. Dude, I had some great Eggs Benedict at IHOP. So I thought about you because I know we're both fans of Egg Benedict. They're pretty good.
Benedict is a good thing. Cool. Yeah, I'm not going to see that at the food court.
No, it wasn't Palo, but it was it was pretty rocking for Chesterfield, Missouri. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty solid. So and now I need some breakfast instead of Taco Bell, but we'll see what we can do. All right, well that's gonna do it. You have questions though, drop them in the inbox, and we'll get those next week to the show. And really appreciate that. So it's Mike at beourguestpodcast.com. You have time this week? Let's get it done. We'll have another show on Friday, so come on back for that. Tomorrow, we'll have the replay from Sunday night's live call-in show. That was a hoot and a half, so join us for that. And we'll keep the shows coming for you. As long as you are here, we'll be here as well. Don't forget, our podcasts are brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We would love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or Disney Cruise Line vacation. Best part, no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. Just $5 a month is all it takes. And you'll get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. Come on over and support the show this week. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on the social media. I'm at beourguestmike. Pam's at TMFLTPam. Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Give us a follow over there. And of course, the fun never stops over in our Clubhouse. It's our Discord server. It's beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. Come on over and join us over there. We have channels for everything. We even have a live fantasy football league going on over there. We have live trip updates from folks that are in the parks, Disneyland, Walt Disney World. You want to see what's happening with our listeners? The people on the ground, boots on the ground. We have live it's like a live question show going on 24/7 over in the Discord. So come on over and join us over there today. And of course, we'll have the live call-in show Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Scott will be back with me Sunday night. So join us for that as well. All right. Until we get back together again on Friday, hope you have a great midweek and an awesome, just whatever you're doing midweek. So until we talk again, from Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.